that I'm Jason Kaplan, and he is Tom Biz. I was hoping they would switch the camera directly to you. There we go. They got it. So that's how you can tell us apart. But anyways, as we do dive into today's games, Tom, how are you doing today? How you doing? It's our final day of games. It's been a treat. It's been nice to see you this year.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to what will be a decent last day for us, especially. I think the latter games,
you look a lot clearer in these glasses, and I really don't know if I want to be wearing them.
Isn't that the point of glasses?
Yeah, but I regret them now. Sorry, continue.
Enough. But yeah, I think obviously we have, I think the last elimination game on the B stream will be this one. And then the next two games are basically to decide who goes into the semifinals and who goes into the quarterfinals. So obviously they've given us the most important game of who's staying in the tournament.
100%. I mean, I would definitely agree with you. I do want to hop into the schedule in just a second, but let's first talk about the brackets so you guys can see how things have kind of developed, of course, over these last 3 days. If you're just joining us, I still have to ask you, what the hell have you been doing? Working? Pfft, come on, get another monitor, put it up on the screen. Oh, you work outside? You got a phone. Everyone has phones these days, right? That's what Blizzard says. But you can see here, Straws Fnatic going to be meeting in the upper bracket finals, both already through to the Spodek Arena, but one of them will get straight through to the semifinals, and one will have to play an extra match in the quarters. And towards the bottom side of the bracket, we did have a couple of games there from yesterday. We had, in particular, NIP up against Na'Vi, and that scoreline kind of does tell the story of how that match went.
Yeah, it wasn't really much of a contest. Na'Vi definitely outperformed their opposition, and that's why they get to go on and face FaZe Clan, who they had the all-star matchup. That was them facing off against Zaiwu, who was playing incredibly well yesterday. And after losing their own map choice, everybody pretty much counting them out on Nuke, they came back, win that game, and finish it off on Inferno. I think we're going to have another showstopper today. I think that's going to be on the A stream as well. So absolute banger of a match.
And I remember looking at Reddit earlier on today before we had the match. And a lot of people out there were surprised when you think of FaZe Clan. You think of the star setup lineup that they have on their team.
Yep.
You're never going to say, oh, Brokey's the star, right? You're never going to say this guy that they picked up. Now you might say that, but with all the players they have on the team, you would think he'd be the last person you expect to step up, but he has done just that. Gave themselves one step closer to the Spodek Arena. And of course, you can see what has gone down in Group B. G2 Esports knocking MOUSESPORTS, the team who's been on such an upward spiral. I guess technically you look at spirals as going downwards, but they have an upward spiral. And they've been knocked down to the lower bracket. They have to play up against Mad Lions.
Well, yeah, the ESL rank 1 team in the world has gone into the lower bracket. So it pretty much says it all. And G2 looking in form at the moment. We've seen a spike in performance from a lot of their players. And yeah, it didn't seem like some of the players on MOUSESPORTS actually showed up yesterday, which is a bit of a worry, of course, going into what I would consider an easier matchup today. And then on the other side of the bracket as well, which will be going, again, I think on the A stream, is going to be EG versus 100 Thieves for another elimination match. Two teams that definitely have a minimum goal of getting to the playoffs. I think we even had the interview with Kassad where he was speaking about like that's what we expect now, and even on the other side of EG, like they sort of we had Chet putting out that almost meme of a tweet where it was like, yeah, we have everything we need to beat Liquid, and they only just scraped through a map. The other two were actually fairly convincing in Liquid's favor. So yeah, we've got some exciting games all the way across the board. A couple more teams who have to go home before we can get to our playoff stage, and also determine where in the playoff stage our teams are going to land.
That's true. And actually, let's take a look at the schedule. If you guys are curious about what games will be coming up on both the streams, let's take a look at grouping, what we have for you today. Our first match, what I can tell you, will be Mad Lions indeed going up against MOUSESPORTS. And this match alone already has a lot of history, right, between the two teams of 2020, even dating back to 2019, technically, under a different banner for Mad Lions.
Yeah, no, for sure. We've seen them play a fair few times. Considering this year there haven't been too many tournaments in general, they played twice during ICE, and both times it was MOUSESPORTS to come out on top. I think that's what everybody's going to be expecting this time, although yesterday we kind of looked at MOUSESPORTS and went, okay, this isn't quite the team that we expected to see coming into the tournament. Even at ICE, I think Rops came out and said, like, okay, we won the tournament, but at the same time, some of our practices were not going quite the way we wanted them to. So there's definitely going to be questions asked if this is going to be the same MOUSESPORTS that finished off last year with the Pro League Finals victory, or if there's going to be a slightly weaker squad coming into this matchup. And well, hey, Mad Lions, they've come close before. They were probably the team closest to beating them at ICE after Na'Vi's being dominated basically in the final. So there's definitely potential here, but MOUSESPORTS still out-and-out favorites.
Yeah, 100%. You can see, of course, we do have Astralis up against Fnatic as the
Yeah.
second match. Funny enough, that's going to be an insane match. It doesn't mean much in terms of like getting through the Spodek or not, or being eliminated. Obviously, both teams are through. Then again, semifinals versus quarterfinals. But we see Fnatic, a lot of questions around them. What kind of form would they bring into this tournament? Because it's been 70-something games since their last official match. They've looked damn good, but so has Astralis. They've looked pretty back to form, I'd say, after Blast.
Yeah, I think that was almost expected coming into this event. Okay, we didn't really know what about Fnatic, but clearly they've been practicing, clearly they're prepared, and they've looked phenomenal all the way through. And then Astralis, this was like okay, you screwed up, things went wrong, now you're going to come back in and just smash your opposition. And that's basically been the case. They've been having fun with it. Device has already had some ridiculous clips that people can only dream of. And
a little bit fishy.
I obviously, this is the champion of champions match for IEM Katowice. Like, these are two teams that basically have been battling for who can gain the most Katowice trophies. So it's going to be a hell of a match. I think also because of that, because they're on the same side of the group now, that means they go into the opposite side later on. So there's a chance that we could even get a rematch later on in the tournament, which
that would be great.
That'd be amazing.
Grand finals, I think, potential, right?
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. That could be interesting. Also, G2 versus Team Liquid. I know we were kind of talking about it in the little green room we had earlier on. I remember our observer, Bastion, rest in peace soon. He, I honestly don't know how I was going with that. That was not a threat, I swear. Talking about, is G2 playing that well? Or are they playing amazing this tournament, or are they just playing kind of solid? And, looking about the teams they played, 100 Thieves, they had a 62, 16-3. They played against MOUSESPORTS and beat the #1 team ranked in the world at the moment. And now they have, I guess, another true challenge with Team Liquid ahead.
Yeah, and they've had some pretty banging matchups in the past. We had the Season 9 Pro League Finals. G2 were actually in France as well, able to face off against Liquid. So I'm sure they're looking forward to that level of rematch. We've seen them play in New York, Chicago as well. So there's been some battles between these two teams, and they always seem to go the distance. So again, I think that's going to be a fantastic match to watch. I think G2 coming in form, which I think they're always one of the most exciting teams when they are in form. That's all it really is.
Right.
Like, when they fall off, it's like, oh, okay, it's happening again with G2. But right now, they're looking fantastic. And again, they look like one of the teams to beat. And they have the stars that, well, when Kenny's popping off, I don't think there's anyone more exciting to watch. Nex has already had maybe the clip of the whole tournament. Like Hunter, we're going to be a little bit sneaky, just being annoying in the back line. So I think it's going to be a fantastic matchup.
You mentioned Hunter. He's been actually performing, I think, one of the best for his team. He was top fragger in the first match with 100 Thieves. He was second from the top under, I think, Kenny S in their last match. But that's going to wrap it up for our stream in terms of what games are coming up. Let's take a look at what's coming up on the main stream if you're interested in those games. And as you said before, Tom, the first match will be an elimination match. Both streams have an elimination match off the bat. We'll be covering like the finals of the groups. But then we go into... That's ours again. Yeah, we want to look at what the A stream. I mean, obviously, we guys just want you watching us. We can see 100 Thieves against Evil Geniuses. That's an elimination match.
I think they're all elimination matches.
Yeah, technically. FaZe Clan versus Na'Vi, which, I mean, that could be a grand final right there, to be honest. And then also the TBD. I wish we could have a touch this before we do touch on the other teams. It's going to be the winners of 100 Thieves and Evil Geniuses, and then the winners of Mad Lions and MOUSESPORTS.
So, our game. Come on, Jason.
I got there. Come on, I didn't have to look at my notes. But that would be the matches that'll be coming up on the main stream. So if you guys want to tune into those, don't stick here with us because look at us, we're matching. Wasn't even planned. But yeah, FaZe Clan Na'Vi, like that. Both teams playing well. Both teams performing. Individuals as well rising. New individuals, like we saw Perfecto. I mean, not necessarily in terms of like amazing frags, like simple, but he was a solid anchor player. Then FaZe Clan Broky's been stepping up in this tournament.
Well, yeah, for some of the maps, the two top fraggers were the two new boys on the block, which you can't really ask for more if you're within either of those organizations. Of course, it is horrible to think that one of those teams is going to be going home. The same you could say like MOUSESPORTS or EG. One of those teams is likely to go home. 100 Thieves as well. Somebody has to be going, and it just, like, that is the fact of IEM Katowice, that not everybody's going to get to the Spodek. One of the things that I really found interesting is Kenny coming out in an interview and going, yeah, it's going to be my first time in the Spodek. And you're like, what?
That's kind of surprising, right?
How's that not happened before? Like, one of the previous best players in the world, a team that's won a major, but he's never made it to the Spodek before. It really shows how tough a task it is to get to the Spodek arena that Kenny S isn't there.
If you're Kenny S, you're like, yeah, I've never been here. And if you're JW, you don't remember being there. So it's kind of a difference between the two.
It's happened too many times with JW.
Exactly. It's another day at the office for him. But let's kind of focus on the match that is coming up, right? We're about 3 minutes off until we are getting underway between Mad Lions and MOUSESPORTS. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we do have the veto as well. And I kind of want to go through this a little bit slow because, Tom, I know you want to talk a bunch about what potentially we could see or what teams will be banning away.
Yeah, I think the bans will be fairly straightforward. I think
don't look at the screen.
It's going to be Overpass Inferno. Like, those are the two maps that you don't really see coming out. It's going to be Mad Lions, obviously taking Inferno. Thank you for putting that on the screen. But it's when it comes down to the picks that things get a little bit more interesting because Mad Lions seem to like to switch it up in this matchup each time. The first time they played them, they picked Mirage. That really didn't go well. Then they picked Vertigo, and that was actually the map that they managed to win. So I wouldn't mind seeing them throw that in again. Like a Vertigo pick versus MOUSESPORTS is not one of their better maps. In fact, they only ever play it when it's picked against them. So you kind of look at that and go, okay, they don't really want to be playing this map necessarily. The only worry there is in that match, most of their stars didn't really come up. Then you go towards what the third map could be, and you kind of stick it out going, okay, they both really like Train. But previously, Mad Lions banned that too because they just felt, okay, our Train's really good. I think they're on like they haven't lost as Mad Lions, which, hey, that's pretty damn good. But then you look at the other side of things and it's whether or not they'd rather play a nuke, which last time was really close. So it's actually one of the more interesting vetoes. But in terms of MOUSESPORTS, Dust 2. I think that's going to be their pick. I'd be surprised if they picked anything else.
The nuke as well, because the thing is, they did meet back at V4, Future Esports Festival, where they were casting, and they did play nuke there too, which came down to 16-14. So definitely really close matches between those two teams on this map. But I feel like at the same kind of rate, obviously, both teams have grown since then, but I feel like Mad Lions have grown more just because they've had that consistency of playing together, no one being plucked away from the team. So let's actually start to see some maps here in the series because I'm just kind of waiting. I know I said go slow, but I didn't mean snail pace.
Train is an interesting pick because that's one of those where I expected it to be a third map just because of how like both teams are not going to ban it. Like, there's not really a reason to do so. As said, I think it's a streak of, was it 8 maps or 7 maps in a row for Mad Lions? And then up until losing to Na'Vi, MOUSESPORTS also had a 7 streak on that map, obviously versus tougher opposition. So you can kind of go, MOUSESPORTS are going to be a very, very good team on Train. That's what actually a bit of an issue for me, though. If you know that that can be a third map, and Vertigo is one that 100% MOUSESPORTS are going to ban in the second stage, you could have had both Train and Vertigo in there, because last time the reason Train was removed is because you banned it. So I feel like Mad Lions may have even played this one a little bit wrong, but I guess they're hoping to get Train and Nuke, 2 of their best maps. And then Vertigo is just going to be one where they don't really fancy playing it. And they did, to be fair to them, get destroyed versus Virtus Pro. So it might just be the jitters being, okay, that really didn't go well yesterday. Let's go on something we're more comfortable on. Unfortunately, that means you've basically gone and given MOUSESPORTS their 2 best maps in a row. And
then we got Nuke in there too, if they could potentially get to a third and final map. Pretty much what you kind of expected, if I'm not mistaken.
Train's the only exception. Like, it is one that they both love to play, but I'm just surprised that Mad Lions didn't leave it in for the latter stages and go for a Vertigo pick, because of how they played before. I guess maybe they just thought that MOUSESPORTS maybe had a bad day, and because of yesterday, they went, let's leave that one. It didn't feel comfortable. So they've gone for their home choices. They've gone for the maps they like to play. But I think that's such a risk going into a Train versus MOUSESPORTS, where they may have not had their best performance yesterday, but if you give them Dust 2 and Train, I just don't think you're going to win that.
I mean, the upside is that you had, was it Kerrigan top fragging for MOUSESPORTS in their last match. So, and that's kind of like a little bit of a light for Mad Lions. But the thing is, like, I think the mentality of these two teams as well coming into this tournament are so drastically different, where Mad Lions is looking to, you know, like, win a couple of matches, maybe get to playoffs, and MOUSESPORTS.
Playoffs is the goal, for sure.
Yeah, playoffs is the goal, but for MOUSESPORTS, like, the title's the goal, right? They won 4 of the last 5 tournaments. They're both coming in with a completely different mentality. And I think that's going to kind of affect how they play a little bit. I honestly am hoping Mad Lions do well. It was so great to see them at V4 take the victory under the Tricked Esports banner, seeing how excited they were, seeing Roy on stage as well. I think it was one of his first lands at the time, if I'm not mistaken. And they've really come together as a team. But again, it's it's MOUSESPORTS. They've been playing so damn well. They got the robot on their team. I can't wait to see him hit some sick shots on Vertigo as we've seen before. But we're not going to see Vertigo this time, but we might see it here on Train as we're about to hop into this first match. And Tom, I know you talked about the vetoes. Do you think there's a realistic chance we're going to see a third map? I mean, it's always a possibility. But do you think realistically we're going to see a third map with how we know these teams have been playing?
I like the sort of goal of Mad Lions to go, okay, we're going to fight you on one of your best maps, but unless MOUSESPORTS really are coming in like poor form and this has just been a bad tournament for them in general, I don't know how they're going to lose their 2 best maps, and this is already an absolute slaughter. Woxic and Frozen are going to be just kicking it off with a complete domination of Ivy. Hunden 1v5. I don't think anybody really believed in that. No offense, Hunden. But yeah, that's absolute domination. And the worry as well is, obviously, when you go into a map choice, you get to pick the map, your opponent gets to pick the side. So you're gambling that you can pull out rounds on the T side of Train versus maybe even one of the best Train teams in the whole world. Like that's really where we're going. The only loss they've had is to Na'Vi. And if any team can just pull out victories based off pure individual prowess and form, it's Na'Vi. So you can basically go off this and go, MOUSESPORTS haven't really been losing this map at all. So I don't know. I guess, again, they've gone for their strengths over picking a map that they feel weaker on but know that MOUSESPORTS are weaker on. But when you are this heavy an underdog, I feel like you almost have to do that. Rops, this is a chance to just farm up cash. This is as easy as you like already. It's been a great start for basically the 3 main players you want to see. Acorn does have a chance to get the bomb down, but already Chris J's going to be pushing and just domes him straight away. But yeah, I think it's important as well. Frozen has got off to a relatively good start here, because yesterday, I think his stats were something like 32 to 54, which you don't expect that from Frozen. He's meant to be one of the best players in the server. Everybody else, Rops at least, Rops and Woxic were playing well. So you add in Frozen, I think they even beat G2. So if you add him in here, Mad Lions don't stand a chance.
Well, we're going to find out here. And you touched on the fact about like map choices. I kind of respect, though, for Mad Lions, like trying to play their own game. Instead of trying to take MOUSESPORTS to a map they're maybe uncomfortable with, they're just trying to play maps that they are going to be comfortable with against the team that they played quite a few times out of recent months. But yeah, MOUSESPORTS, if they get fired on all cylinders, I don't think there's many teams actually at this tournament that can really take them down in this form we've been seeing out of them. Into round 3, we're going to see the bot come in for Mad Lions. Frozen again. I mean, we've talked about, by the way, about how important it is to have players who can anchor out in sight. So we've seen Rops have a decent start. We talked about like Floppy as well. We saw it at Cloud9 be able to do some decent work in towards the B site. At the moment, though, they've actually lost out on Frozen. So with the man advantage, I'm curious to see where Mad Lions will decide to go. They still have Roy, by the way, over towards Ivy, so he can go for the flank, which seems to be something they were doing in the round prior, even though they're just trying to get the bomb down. And it's forced the rotation. It's forced the gamble out of MOUSESPORTS to keep 3 players on this inner bomb site.
Yeah, I like this. They have weaker weaponry in this round, so they have to take risks. They have to do things that are a little bit more aggressive than normal. Woxic already tagged low on health, but he's going to get that pre-fire off, and he finds a second as well. Unexpected, considering he was on 34 HP when he started those duels. Now we're going to see the rotation back. The only real issue is Roy. He's managed to get into a pretty good position. A smart spot picked by Karrigan, though, so he can't be seen. The only real risk is one of his teammates being caught, and I think Woxic might be able to meet that fate, but Karrigan is able to actually find those kills nonetheless.
Oh, what?
J, I would love to see that from his point of view, because I think that had to be a no-scope.
It wouldn't surprise me. It's Chris J, and it's a scout, right? Oh, man. That's a little unfortunate, too, for Mad Lions when they had the position of Roy right there. But again, the push out of Pop didn't work out too well for them. And MOUSESPORTS get flying off to a nice 3-0 start. Even with the lesser weaponry, they pick up an SG and 2 AKs. So their money's going to be flying high coming into round 5, even if they do lose this one.
Yeah, and in this round as well, Woxic is just using this as a chance to farm up even more cash. Doesn't want to risk the AWP falling into enemy hands just yet, so he's going to face versus these pistol with an SMG and then likely buy it up in the next round, unless, of course, things go catastrophically wrong. But even then, he's got a couple of teammates with a lot of money in the bank. Tees in the early portion of the round, just going to be playing default, trying to basically find a pick off the back of the Deagles. Again, Acor has to save a little bit of extra money. I have to say that in terms of this Mad Lions team, there is a lot of talent that could step up. I think Bubsky needs to have a worldy game. I think he's the man on this roster that I look to that can be that tier 1 level player. Like, I think he's up there. Very strong individual. Also, Acor as well. Like, he's not the flashiest AWPer in the world, but he's going to be the man consistently hitting shots. And especially on the CT side, it's going to be fairly important that he's able to do that. But for now, another round where an inherent advantage is shown for MOUSESPORTS, not only now in the numbers, in the weaponry, and also, oh, really, Woxic? Oh, he's going to get the knife. That's so much extra cash as well, $1,500. He's sat on 7,600 after just 4 rounds, and he has only the 3rd highest amount of money on his team.
That's ridiculous. That's insane, honestly. And MOUSESPORTS, honestly, looking phenomenal so far. Only 4 rounds in, but not really too much of it has been close at all. And I'm a little bit worried if we do get Chris J on the SG, how things can go for him, because you know how much he loves to use that weapon. But I agree with you about Bubsky, by the way. We also saw Shush do relatively well so far with his team in this tournament alone. And about Acor being a consistent AWPer. I want to see that consistency, but I don't know if the consistency is going to match up against potential flashiness that Woxic can pull out. It seems like they're looking to anchor in towards this B site, kind of leaning in this general direction for Mad Lions. Oh, a little bit of a miss nade. Does some, not too much damage. About 20 to Bubsky. And again, look at the way MOUSESPORTS are defending this. They have 2 players in sight. They technically have Chris J, who's going to be getting in towards the back as well. They have a player in connectors who can easily rotate in if they need unfrozen. They've got the read, they've got the stack, and Mad Lions are walking right into a trap.
They've got to clear Rops. That's basically the most important player. Already hits a headshot on a falling, but nice work from Roy. He's going to get 2 entries into the site. Chris J already on spot, but he goes down to Shush as well. And leaving Frozen to try and trade things back. He does a lot of damage onto Acor after finding the frag. Karrigan also just lurking around this angle, goes for the peek and evens it up, but takes a hell of a lot of damage. I don't think Hunden had any idea that Frozen was that close, and now Acor left into a 1 versus 2. Karrigan desperately low on HP. They do have a kit available to them. A smoke even going to go down onto the bomb, and Frozen basically has to hold this. Nice work from Acor to get the first, but he sprays through the flashbang, leaves him blind, and it's going to be the Ninja Defuse coming in from Frozen right in front of Acor's face. Didn't know that he was still on the bomb towards the end.
Tom, where's Device when you need him?
Yeah, need that 1 deeg through a smoke.
Yeah, that's unfortunate too, because that round started off so poorly for Mad Lions in the sense that MOUSESPORTS had 3 players on the site and a 4th to quickly rotate in. But then Roy pushes out upper, gets 2 kills, so opens up the site for him. Then Shush gets 1 as well. They get the potential for a big man advantage and to just hold down that site, but then they lose all their players, getting a little bit too far pushed up. So unfortunate for Mad Lions to not be able to convert that into a round, and now Shush is going to be pushed out of this position. He's going to fall to Karrigan, just had his number read perfectly. And MOUSESPORTS now back with a man up.
Yeah, that is the power of sound cues. Ooh. Although that's the power of the SG. Acor going to rip off Karrigan's head. They've got to deal, of course, with this double AWP setup. We know how powerful both Woxic and Chris J can be, but Bubsky is going to get his first kill onto the board by countering Chris J. They've still got to worry about how aggressive Frozen is, and Rops will catch Hunden again in a fairly aggressive position. The bomb going to be down. Acor, I think he realizes that somebody's around this corner, but there's absolutely nothing he can do about it. Rops will shut down the latter, putting them 6-0. And something I mentioned at the beginning of the game, Frozen, bit of a poor performance yesterday. He's 10-1, Jason. 10-1. And if you notice how he played that round, he was almost entry fragging CT side. Like, he was so far forward and didn't die, which that's when this youngster is his scariest. Like, when he feels confident, this is a map he's been good on pretty much all the way through his career. Even as young as like 14, 15 years old, he was still wrecking face on this map. There's a reason why this map is so successful for them. It just fits their players. And for now, 6-0. We haven't really seen much of a dent made other than the singular round, which came down to the clutch.
So I'm looking at this now as what should Mad Lions do against these double op setups if MOUSESPORTS is able to maintain them. And I would imagine getting Acorn op might be a possibility. Picking up the pace might be an option as well. Get some set smokes on the outer bomb site, then try to, eliminate the sight lines for the AWPs. Though what we've seen from this tournament alone, smokes don't really mean a whole lot. Now Chris J's waiting to receive with Karrigan there to assist. And well, Karrigan just knocks them both down as a flashbang perfectly sets that up. And honestly, if MOUSESPORTS continue to play like this is probably going to be a very quick match. They are looking just so good. Everyone's hitting their shots. They're getting the perfect reads, having the stacks exactly where they need them. And Mad Lions, they need to figure out what they can do here because they need to stop this route. They need to start picking up some rounds. And I understand it's T side of the train, but 15-0, just not coming back from that. Not often.
No, and the issue is they're not even really getting too much done. I think it's important they take this tactical pause, give themselves a little bit of time to talk. I'd like to see them put some pressure on the B site again, although it is going to be tougher now that the double up setup is in play. Like, we've seen Woxic play over that side of the map. That's why he's a little bit further down on the board at the moment, because they've only really pressured it once. So I'm hoping we get to see that again. Roy did great work of actually getting the entries. And you mentioned, Shush, about his performance yesterday. On Dust 2, he dropped 31 frags. So he definitely is playing well in this tournament so far. That was versus Virtus Pro, of course. But we'll get to see whether or not they're actually going to make that change. Because as I said, so far the A site, it's looked locked down. Like, Carrigan's been having a field day. Frozen has just been wrecking face. I think you need to try and at least force them to maybe dedicate a second player over onto that other side of the map, because otherwise, if it is just leaving Woxic alone almost to spot, that's going to be more of an issue. The only problem I'm seeing now, though, it seems like MOUSESPORTS had the same idea. They've sent Woxic aggressive. He's going to peek into the flames. Now, he does fall for it, and because he's normally the solo man, you can see the T's attempted to pressure, and Robs is actually going to be caught with a smoke in hand.
Timing a little bit unfortunate for Rops there, as well as Frozen trying to push up the ladder. Roy going to take him down. It looks like Mad Lions will be able to finally get their first round on the board here. MOUSESPORTS, they have a lot of money to work with, but as you can see, they're backing away, trying to keep the weaponry out of the hands of their opponents. Hundred's been able to rescue an AWP, though, for A-Core. And for Mad Lions, they need to be thinking about this. They cannot really afford to lose out on too many players in this round that they're going to be able to take. They've lost now on 2. Can't really knock Roy too hard because he was obviously flanking around from behind like that, but now you need to not die to Chris J here.
I think once you go down to having 3 players, you shouldn't have sent any more. Like,
yeah.
I think if you're on 4, you lose 1, you can kind of go, okay, we're still making a little bit of money. The value of taking these weapons away, it's not bad, but you have to remember how many rounds in a row MOUSESPORTS have won, and they haven't been particularly contested. Like, there's been a lot of money built up. Like, even going into this next round, you got 2 players saving, and the others all over $11,000. Even if you removed every weapon, you needed to build up economy of your own. And instead, they're now having to basically spend the majority of their extra cash just to get a full buy onto the board. If they lose this next round, okay, sure, they'll still have a decent loss bonus, so it's not the end of the world. But you're not really giving your own economy a chance to grow at all. So a little bit overzealous for me. I think maybe there's also just, okay, I need that extra bit of confidence. Let me try and finish off these players, because it has been a slow start for example, Bubsky. As said, I think he should be the star player, the best player in this side. I think he's proven it in the past, and I think they're going to need him if they're going to have a chance in this match.
Oh. I think Roy just got shot in the hip right there. Does survive, though, with 10 HP. But again, Walks has changed up his position. Frozen again, waiting for some company in towards Pop. Thing is, we haven't really seen Mad Lions really challenge out onto Pop too often. So Frozen's been just gifted this free control with really not having to fight for it. Even in towards middle, he does have some support from Kerrigan. But I think MOUSESPORTS are just holding so aggressively, really trying to force Mad Lions into these tight little alleyways, which will be in towards this inner bomb site.
Yeah, they've done a great job of taking map control away from Mad Lions, but more importantly for them, it gathers so much information. They're going to know the likelihood is there isn't going to be an A take here, especially with these fake smokes that are being thrown in. They can basically go, well, it is an A. We're in A main. It can be Ivy. That's about it. And instead, it's going to be pressure towards the B. So there's still 2 players here. Chris J's had a bit of a tough time early on, but he still managed to get the initial kill. They check this time for Robs, but that doesn't necessarily mean too much. He's going to get himself a kill anyway. Chris J's still spotting, but Carrigan has actually gone down over in A main. So there's decent potential here. And Chris J is looking like he wants to fight this all on his own. Bear in mind, he's only on 13 HP. The flashbang comes through. They should know that there's someone close, but he's looking for both. He wants both kills, and Chris J is going to find it as well. Leaves it all onto Roy, who's only on 10 HP. He got legged very early on. Chris is going to wipe them all down. 13 HP, 4 kills. Easy.
So risky for him to go for the defuse as well like that. The backup wasn't necessarily there at a Frozen. Again, good composure coming through. I think they heard him run it in since he was over towards Pop, but MOUSESPORTS now up 8-1 here. Double up setup coming, or being maintained for MOUSESPORTS. On the other side for Mad Lions, he talked about, yeah, they'll have a buy, but you can see A-Core not really gonna have much utility to back things up with here. He's gonna be on the AWP.
Well, that's the thing,
this is like the second time we've seen him on it.
1 extra gun save, and they have full rifles and an AWP. Like that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm pointing out, is that that was the difference. And the CT side, it didn't really make much of a difference at all. Oh, that doesn't get much easier than that. Just not expecting anyone that far forward. Karrigan just playing so aggressive at the moment, clearly having an absolute field day against his fellow Danes. Having a bit of fun with this matchup, and Hunden, well, he's not normally renowned for his AWPing, but I guess it's better. He's going to go down to the flames and say Karrigan now with a triple kill. He has been putting up numbers so far this event. Not something normally expected of him. Going to take a little bit of damage here, maybe not even realizing that he's got shot from behind. Roy, again, is going to get the entry. Chris J out in the open. And that actually turns into a 2 versus 2. Frozen misses the spray as well. And now it's going to be left all onto Robs. Do they expect a second player to come out of Pop, though? That's the only surprise that could be left in his belt. It's going to be spotted by Bubsky. Still plenty of time for the bomb retrieval. Roy looking for this fight. He's low on HP, but now so is Robs. And we're going to have to try and fight this one back, but instead, he looks to try and reset this situation as he switches back to B.
I like the Molotov being thrown in, though, because he knows it buys him a little bit of time. Going to be coming back in towards connector. And you can see that Roy has to clear so many different angles now. He's not sure exactly where he's going to be because the amount of time that's passed has allowed Rops to rotate back through. But here we go. Bomb going to go down. Rops on 11 health. Roy on 38. And Rops kind of has an inkling in the direction he is going. But Roy's been able to actually transition to a perfect spot. Rops taking his time. Does have the grenade as well, which would be enough to finish off Roy if he can just get it near his body. And look at this, Roy has the angle. Rops isn't expecting to be watching this. And I think Roy turned away last second, but coming around the corner, Roy looking to clutch this out for his team, but unfortunately he will fall. Rops gets the timing, hits the window, and gets the defuse through.
Yeah, just, again, very clean from Rops in the end. Someone who I think you can expect almost every time will check every single angle. Like, he's very methodical in the way that he's clearing things out. I think a lesser player in that scenario would go, okay, I've sort of cleared that spot, now I'll go looking somewhere else, but made sure things ended up being very easy for him. And unfortunately, in previous positions in the round, Roy actually did predict that spot. It was so long since he'd actually last seen Rops that wasn't expecting him to be there. Mad Lions, they're going to be taking another pause. At least, as mentioned, the loss bonus is still high for them. They only won one round, lost one round. It's not as much of a death sentence as it used to be. You only lose a singular round of loss bonus, and then it goes right back up again. So that bomb plant is actually enough to get them a purchase. The worry, though, is how are they actually going to break this defense? Because again, I feel like a lot of that came down to a mistake or two from the CT side. Like you had the battle of Karrigan that was just a little bit messy. Sure, he got 3 kills. You can't really fault him for the rest of the round. Then you had Frozen. How many times have we seen Frozen miss this game? I think that was the first, and I don't know if you can really expect that again.
There's also the timing of Roy pushing through the smoke at the exact same moment he was falling down the train, so he didn't have the aim lined up for it, and he gets himself a quick double. But I agree. Like, I think that was a little bit of a fluke. You can't depend on hitting a timing window like that every single time. And Bubsky trying to push him through lower. Unexpectedly, Karrigan is actually caught up on the Hunden, gets the first kill, and Shush able to clean him up with the help of Roy in the flashbang, and Shush able to get a nice little double, but Frozen's still here. He's still on this outer bomb site until Acor takes his head off. And a second on to Chris J.
That was beautiful from Acor. Hasn't really had his AWP too much, but clearly doesn't really matter. It's another 1v2 for Rops, but he's not going to be able to connect. Bubsky doing enough damage initially to help out Roy in the battle. So they do come straight in, a fast play in towards that A site, trading effectively. Some good entries coming out from Mad Lions. I think that's something that we have to make sure we don't actually fault them for, is their entry fraggers are doing their work. Acor, I think it was Roy as well, just coming up big. I'm not sure how much of a fan I am of Bubsky just throwing himself down the ramp. Maybe it was some sort of miniature fake, but it was a very high-risk play. And again, he's not had the best start to this match so far. I don't know if that's more of a tilt play or if that was something they planned just to try and fake out their opposition. But either way, it didn't work. He's someone that needs to be utilized a little bit better.
Just look at Karrigan, the confidence out of him. He's been pushing middle, I think, at least 3 rounds in a row now. I mean, prior he got caught up by the second player in the smoke, but still, this real estate they've gained, this information they've been able to get. And Chris J here to help out on the inner bomb side. If they peek around this corner, this is going to be tough times.
Not looking like he's going to be pressured. They do have to be careful, though, because they do have Rops just on the edge of the smoke. He's going to try and use it to his advantage. Just peeking on the other side. He's got help from Chris J, and Rops has just shut this down. That's back-to-back triple kills from one player on this MOUSESPORTS side again, though. Akor's there to at least trade one back, but this time, I don't think it's going to turn. Hunden left alone, and Woxic will put down the final man. Big plays coming out from Rops once again, and he now moves himself to joint top of the board in the server.
The thing is, for Mad Lions, even though they only have 2 rounds, I feel like there's still that potential chance, right? We're looking at like 4. If they maybe pull off the last 3, then they'd be looking decent coming into the CT side. But I feel like with MOUSESPORTS and how they're firing on all cylinders, how they're performing as a team, I'm going to be a little bit worried for Mad Lions when we swap onto the CT side, unless they can build up that stable economy to maybe invest into the double op setup. And obviously 4 rounds is enough for some teams, but maybe we'll find out if Mad Lions can get there and it'll be enough for them.
This round at least. Singular AK alongside some pistols. Shush to do some initial damage again. Karrigan's just going ham, but he's going to lose his life eventually. Frozen, though, doing the damage onto Shush, and Akor being dropped without much of a fight at all. It will eventually be the cleanup. But that was just an eco round, really, with a little bit extra in terms of the AK. I think the only saving grace is in some historic comebacks that have happened versus MOUSESPORTS. You got it was a different roster, but yeah, it's history nonetheless. You've got the likes of QB Fire able to turn, I think it was even 11-4, 12-3 half in the major to knock out MOUSESPORTS. Again, a different iteration. I remember we casted, I think it was Happy on Envy. There was the same MOUSESPORTS game. That was during the major, like I think it was the ESL Katowice major qualifier for the minor. So that was a long time ago. That was over a year ago.
Is that when we almost died in the car on the way back because we had a driver?
Not really what I'm getting at here, Jason.
I'm just trying to
sure.
put the times together in my head. And there we go. Woxic now pushed at middle. Frozen's falling. He actually gets blinded out. Perfectly placed by Hunden. Keeps things down to a 3-on-3 at least. You see MOUSESPORTS going to be rotating back into the site. And Karrigan again getting aggressive. He's just not being punished that often for these random plays he's been able to do. And nets them another kill. Gives them an advantage themselves. And now Mad Lions can be playing with just 2 players. They have the AWP and the AK. And Akor, I mean, I feel like I've been able to say Akor with the AWP that often in this map so far.
No, a lot of their time, the finances haven't really allowed for it. They've been buying off of the back of bomb plants, and most of the time, unless he has extra cash. Nice shot from Hunden, though. Doesn't give Chris J the chance to scope. You do wonder if that had been an SG, if he'd still be standing. But nonetheless, it's going to go back into a 2v2. The issue being, though, that a lot of these clutch situations have been closed out by MOUSESPORTS. You can even see it in their finances at the moment. Considering how dominant this half has been, their money doesn't really reflect that. A victory here could give the opportunity for Mad Lions to bring this to 4. The issue is, though, there's still 2 players standing in their way, and 2 of the top fraggers in the server at the moment. Is surprising to say, but, well, maybe not so surprising for Rops, even still. It's going to be a 1-for-1 split. Hunden at least, picks around. He almost gets the timing right for Karrigan, but he just needed that 1 kill. Now Akor left 10 seconds. He has to go for it. It's already over as long as they don't die, but one of them goes down. Karrigan knows it, though. He just needs to hide. I don't think he's going to be doing anything stupid here. In fact, just waiting to try and close out the final man, and he's not going to be able to. He'll go down in the end. It does leave Chris J maybe a little bit out to dry with the amount of money he's going to have in this round, but you can understand it. He wanted to get rid of the AWP.
Yeah, 100%. And I think for Akor, that was actually a big 2 kills to pick up as well, to get him like riled up and get him, you know, pushing for some more kills into the CT side. Only 8 for him at the moment, but he is technically the top, or second top fragger for his team, right behind Roy. And I think they're going to need that strong backbone of the AWP on the CT side. I mean, obviously taking Pistol around. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. If they get Pistol, then maybe there's a chance they can get up to 1 for him, and they can take like the next round or 2.
That's a pretty bleak reality, though, where we're talking about if he'll ever get an AWP on the CT side. Like, yeah. That is not a good storyline to be running, but even still, we do still have a buy on either side. A few more limitations for MOUSESPORTS. Of course, they lose every single player in the previous round. That is the one benefit of the kills that came in. Rops looking to get a little bit more aggressive. They haven't cleared this upper position. You can't give this man this much space, otherwise he'll punish you. 2 kills coming in. Karrigan again is going to find 1 more, but once more we end up in a 2 versus 2. This seems to be the story of this match over at least the last few rounds. However, Woxic is well placed. He doesn't have a clue where Roy is going to be. He can guess, he can try and guess at least, but at the moment he's in a fairly open position, just trying to fall back, maybe double up with his teammate a little bit here, but this is all going to come down to timing, and we've seen Roy in a clutch situation before. Very close indeed, but not this time. Woxic is going to find another kill for himself, a 13-2 CT half. Bear in mind, this was the pick of Mad Lions. And I said at the time, it's a worry. I thought they'd pick Vertigo. I thought they'd move into a map where MOUSESPORTS are going to be a little bit more uncomfortable, a map where they've beaten them before. Instead, they choose Train. Now, they're going to have to show why they picked it. They're going to have a flawless CT side.
Well, you know what, Tom? We're going to find out after a short break if Mad Lions can come back and potentially get things all equalized here and maybe go into the second map with an advantage.
I feel on top of the world, I feel on top of the world right now. I feel on top of the world, I feel on top of the world right now. I always wanted the world, I wanna conquer the world right now. I feel on top of the world, I feel on top of the world right now. I call the shots and the man with the plot and we only go bombs away. Ain't no one protecting my mind as a weapon, that's why I'ma dominate. Taking advantage of every second, now I ain't got time to waste. They all tryna sign my name, they want me to sign my name. Counting your blessing while I count that in my winnings. We take 50s and 100s and throw them up to the ceiling. Everything I envision, now everybody gon' witness. Only difference between us is I ain't stop till I finish. Yeah. I feel on top of the world, I feel on top of the world right now. I feel on top of the world, I feel on top of the world right now. I always wanted the world, I wanna conquer the world right now. I feel on top of the world, I feel on top of the world right now. Savage, you've been distracted, your best, my average, there's a reason for that's a fact. So they snapping back, mad at the fact that I don't have a backup plan, I need that. Outworking everybody when I relax, so I ain't tripping about none of y'all feedback. Every day I wonder when I'm gonna peak at, and that's why you count your blessing while I count that in my winnings. We take 50s and 100s and throw them up to the ceiling. Everything I envision, now everybody gon' witness. Only difference between us is I ain't stop till I finish. Yeah. I feel on top of the world, I feel on top of the world right now. I feel on top of the world, I feel on top of the world right now. I always wanted the world, I wanna conquer the world right now. I feel on top of the world, I feel on top of the world right now. I feel on top of the world, I feel on top of the world right now. I feel on top of the world, I feel on top of the world right now. I always wanted the world, I wanna conquer the world right now. I feel on top of the world, I feel on top of the world right now. Shots on the man with the plot and we only go bombs away. Ain't no one protecting my mind as a weapon, that's why I'ma dominate. Taking advantage of every second, now I ain't got time to waste. They all tryna sign my name, they want me to sign my name. Counting your blessing while I count that in my winnings. We take 50s and 100s and throw them up to the ceiling. Everything I envision, now everybody gon' witness. Only difference between us is I ain't stop till I finish. Yeah. I feel on top of the world, I feel on top of the world right now. I feel on top of the world, I feel on top of the world right now. I always wanted the world.
Welcome back, everyone, to our final day of the B stream here for the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice 2020 Masters Championship. The rest of the matches will be done over these next few days in the Spodek Arena on the main stream. And right now, we're trying to figure out which one of these teams will be going home and which one will potentially have a chance in the final of the game of the day on the main stream to get into the Spodek Arena. And so far, MOUSESPORTS are picking up the pace, rushing straight through to this outside. Woxic almost TK'ing a teammate there. But do Mad Lions know that they've been able to gain so much control?
Carrigan has a deagle in the pistol round.
As you do.
Interesting. Maybe really is having fun with this one. Trying to put the pain train onto Mad Lions, and with the bomb already down, a 5v5 retake. That's not something you see too often in Counter-Strike. They don't have a kit either, so they really do need to start getting a move on. Half the time already gone on the bomb. Rops in a strong position, and they don't even know he's there just yet. He's going to come along and steal Woxic's kill. Another one comes in for Chris J. The Hundi coming out from Carrigan. And nice shots from Bubsky at least. I don't think he even has enough time. They can just sit back and bait. Carrigan going to be going for these final shots. It's as messy as you like. Midi eventually gets there. I don't think that was quite a 1-deeg, maybe a 7-deeg, but either way, it is going to be 14-2 in favor of MOUSESPORTS.
Just so you guys get an idea of how this is all going to work out, I did mention one of these two teams will be playing in the final match in the mainstream today to see if they can make it to the Swedish Arena. They'll be playing against the winners of 100 Thieves and Evil Geniuses. So that's going to be an exciting match. That match, of course, is at the moment happening over on the mainstream. I'm not sure exactly what the score is, but I can probably tell you it's not as one-sided as this, though.
Last time I checked, it was fairly in favor of 100 Thieves, to be honest. Like, maybe not as one-sided. It's currently 10-4 in favor of 100 Thieves.
Close.
On Inferno, which is their map choice. So, not that close. But
what side did they start on? So, probably T side?
Oh. I would assume, yeah. So 10 rounds on the T side of Inferno is not bad. No. Neither is the one Deeg, or however many Deegs that was. That A-Core just managed to get. He also retrieved an AK, and look how low these players are. Chris J on 5 HP, Woxic only on 29 as well. And they all have rifles. Now, they didn't take any risks in this round. They just wanted to try and end this map as quickly as possible. Instead, there's now an opportunity for some weaponry to be handed over to Mad Lions. They could come out of this round with 5 rifles, I know. Shocking, Jason.
Sorry, I'm getting over being sick still. A-Core's going to miss the shot, unfortunately. Looking to back off as MOUSESPORTS will eventually look to wrap around this corner. They still do have ROPS, though. We could push out of T-mid, and Frozen's going to take A-Core down through the smoke. That's just unfortunate. I told you, so for some reason, this tournament, smokes just don't really exist. The prediction is phenomenal, and you can see Roy able to spot down Woxic.
2 HP. They should have had more than 1 kill in this round so far. Bubsky, though, he's got the AK. They're all so low. It literally could be just one man spraying all of them down at once, but the fact is they're losing their players instead. Shush with the Deeg, we're going to be coming in. There is so much of a chance. Just one bullet needs to hit onto Chris J, but he is going to survive as he gets the plant down. I don't think they will realize how much damage they've actually done in this scenario, but they've still got to be going for it here. Another shot comes in, a headshot, of course. Complete overkill. Honda going to be waiting on the cross, trying to spot them out. Finally, the USP's been brought out, but Frozen's going to hit the kill anyway. And now Shush left into the clutch. He's retrieved an AK at least, but the time is ticking. He doesn't have a kit either, so I think he's even just going to run out of time, and they're so desperately low. They might even die to the bomb at this point, Jason. But the fact is, he's just going to have to try and save this, and that is heartbreaking for Mad Lions. They deserve that round, and I don't even think they know it.
What, 25 HP between the last two players? Frozen will fall. Rops takes a little bit of damage there. And MOUSESPORTS not trying to take any chances and just end it now, almost actually losing that round. It came down just a couple of pistol shots. Like you said, 1 USP out of 100 would have been enough to get the kill, then able to push in.
Bubsky had an AK as well, and I don't think he hit anyone.
He was on site, and they killed him through the corner of a box. That's so unfortunate for him, because the player that killed him, I think it was Frozen, was already lowish on HP too. And now potentially the final round here of our first map. 15-2. Mad Lions obviously investing into this. Mag 7 for Bubsky. MOUSESPORTS, they have the 2 SMGs, and Chris J's already taken a hell of a lot of damage here. But they expected this close. He's able to get the first kill into Hunden, and somehow he survived the spray down out of A-Core.
At least they've managed to trade a couple of kills back. In fact, Chris J is going to fall. It's left onto Frozen and Woxic to try and turn the tide. Might be able to get a tiny lifeline here, and Bubsky finally starting to come into his own a little bit. A couple of kills in this round, but might be just that little bit too late. They have a long way to fight back. Frozen just going to try and make things as costly as possible, reduce what they can get in the next round. The T's, they're going to be in a really poor state when it comes to their economy, of course. Only 1 player surviving in the last round, Woxic with an extra bit of cash, but not anything they can really invest into. But they may just go for some pistols in the next round just because their money is going to be so bad. Frozen still has time, though. He can try and make this costly for the CTs. The issue is they now have a very good idea of where he is. In fact, I'd say they're almost certain.
Is there a world where he wins this 1v4?
I hope not. I'd love to see it, but at the same time, I think that would just be so brutal for Mad Lions. Nice shot to at least kick things off. There is also the world where if they're going to force in the next round anyway, he could just save this AK. It's getting down to the 25-second mark. Spotting out Roy as well. I think the CT side have just made the decision of, okay, he's been kind of good at killing people today. 20 kills, 7 deaths. Let's not overface. And eventually Bubsky is going to pick him off. A triple for him. Not something we've been able to say too much so far. And now, this is what I mean. Look at that T-side economy. It's so bad, they're actually just going to take a bye. And it's understandable.
I mean, with the way they've been playing, though, Tom, I would still be very afraid of them if I was Mad Lions. Even with just the Scout and the Deagles that we've been seeing.
You can't not be at this point. Like, they've battered you so hard that you kind of have to go, yeah, that we can't really get complacent at any point. Like, even if they now win 10 rounds in a row, they're still going to be on edge. If anything, they'll be even more on edge, because knowing that it could just slip away. No change for Karrigan, of course. Hugely aggressive initial plays. Frozen with the dirty Deeg. He's actually going to be able to retrieve a rifle, but Bubsky, I'm liking this. He is starting to gain some confidence. And Acor even going to peek in to help out his teammate. We'll leave Woxic all on his own. This would be incredibly impressive if he managed to pull this one off. And I have my doubts. That's a nice shot to kick things off. They're still, again, making things costly. I don't think he's even realized the man is up there and hits the tag, but won't get the kill. 15-4, a couple of rounds in a row now for Mad Lions, and once again, there's going to be no money left for MOUSESPORTS.
Now, my question is, does Shush drop an op over for Acor? Or do they even want to actually know? No need to invest into it when they know MOUSESPORTS is going to be saving anyways. Keep the SMG for Roy. The FAMAS as well for Acor. Hopefully build up some money, get Acor that AWP, and maybe start to stabilize here again. Just one round would obviously take us over to Dust 2, which is MOUSESPORTS' choice of map. And I think for Mad Lions here, coming back from this, I mean, 11 rounds straight is going to be near impossible, but I think it's important to the mentality of the team to take a couple more rounds here. You know, get some clean kills, kind of shake off this this one-sided map so far, and then go into map 2, hopefully with a fresh start.
Definitely not lose to Gravis. Definitely not lose. Okay, there we go. Thank you, Bubsky. Again, another 3K for him. This was a nothing round, though, from MOUSESPORTS, and they still managed to get 2 kills, so at least they'll finish things off with an extra one. Should be able to retrieve another rifle as well, so going to get rid of the SMGs, and that's about it. Acor could afford to get his AWP in as well. In fact, I think he was even dropped one over just to make sure that he can have all the utility he desires. But this is where things are going to get that a little bit tougher. As said earlier, there have been things in the past where MOUSESPORTS have thrown away massive games, but I like this iteration. I find it so much more unlikely of the team because they've got players that can just win them rounds off individual basis. I don't think they get as tilted as the last roster that was there. I'm not expecting a QB fire major situation where they pull it all the way back and MOUSESPORTS look like fools at the end. I would be very surprised. CT side though, as the almost cliche has to be brought out, they've just got to take it one round at a time, Jason.
MOUSESPORTS have slowed the pace down. Look at this. 3 players going to be sneaking in towards the inner bomb site. Fake smokes being thrown in over towards outer. It's just getting the kill on Karrigan.
He dropped the bomb, so they know that's a fake. Like that fake might have worked if he'd killed any other player, but because he'd seized the bomb, they can now know that those smokes aren't going to play any part in this round. They're just early fakes, and that's actually completely ruined MOUSESPORTS' plan, because now they have 2 Molotovs to try and get into either of these sites. No matter which it is, that's going to be impossible.
Let's see, though. Roy holding the angle. Oh, it shipped down to 79. Not too much damage, however, as we do have, looks like Rob's over towards Pop, ready to rotate in if they need it, but Hunden's there, anchoring on the site, gets the first kill. Bubsky's going to have a lot of competition coming his way as he takes his own, and MOUSESPORTS, as cleanly as the round started, they've been wiped out here by Mad Lions. Bubsky getting 2, Shush, Hunden, and Roy getting 1 apiece. So they still hold on. 6 rounds now on the board for them. Still have a long climb back into this match, but like you said, taking it a round at a time.
Yeah, it's easier said than done, that's for sure. But that round basically fell apart the second that Karrigan died with the bomb, because everything they were planning was, okay, we fake the smokes in and then we go barreling into the A site. 2 players would have gone in as maybe a bit of a fake and tried to wrap around at the end, but because the B site saw the bomb, they can go, okay, well, we're not going to rotate anyone because of these smokes. We'll just stay where we are, and things became fairly easy because there was only 2 Molotovs to try and take the site. So this round, few pistols, couple of flashbangs, a Molotov for the connector, I would imagine. I don't think that's going to be the classic onto the bomb. Nade going to do a little bit of damage. There goes that Molotov, and while so far so good, Bubsky really has stepped up over the last few rounds. Extra kill for Woxic at least. He's going to retrieve an AK, but he will not get this plant.
I got a little scared there. I'm not going to lie, Tom. If that was me saying that, Bubsky probably would have died. And Woxic would have
and then he would have planted the bomb.
Yeah, exactly. Here we go now. Back to the bot for MOUSESPORTS. We got Woxic back on the AWP. We got the SGs as well. And this is where it's going to come down to testing the true metal, the true grit out of Mad Lions. You have to be able to defend against these gun rounds, looking for some clean kills themselves. Bubsy's going to pick up the AWP. I haven't really seen him with this weapon so far on the map, and I'm not sure if it's going to really fit the style he's been playing the map, because he's been very aggressive. He's been doing like Kerrigan-esque kind of plays in mid, pushing up, getting aggressive, looking for a fight. But let's see if it can work out for him this time. He's going for the upper peak and going to be spotted out, knocked down to 41 health, and he should be able to escape from this.
It seems like more of a situational ult picked up, and it hasn't really worked out, at least initially. Obviously, still having an AWP means that him being a little bit lower in health is not going to be the worst thing in the world. A-Core looking for that peek into main. He basically has this part of the map sectioned off. Hunden actually starting to take a fair bit of damage in return, so can't really keep this angle anymore, and it means that MOUSESPORTS are going to be able to gain some map control in the form of Frozen. Still going strong. Bubsky trying to support from the site. In the meantime, however, we're going to start to see this rotation now. Any footsteps will give the game away to Roy, who's wasting in pop. But instead, we're actually going to see the fallback of Shush. Nice work from Bubsky to at least get that initial, but now this fake comes in. Almost a similar situation to the last round, but it has taken maybe just that little bit too long. They've rotated a second player in at this point. Nice shot from Carrigan, going to get the opener in and leave Shush alone. He at least needs one, and he even gets it and fades away. That's important to say the least. He's even waiting to see what Chris is going to do, but slightly missed the timing. Still manages to get the frag.
Kerrigan needs to buy time. Wox is trying to rotate in through halls, trying to help support him here on the site. No one's flanking from the back, so now Kerrigan doesn't have to worry about this position. And Wox is going to come around right down towards lower, takes down, or gets taken out, sorry, by Hunden. Now Kerrigan alone in a 1-on-3, trying to clutch this out for MOUSESPORTS, but he won't have the opportunity. And Shush really coming up big for his team there, with Bubsky falling relatively early on the push in towards the site. He's able to pick up the 3 kills they needed and keep Mad Lions alive.
Yeah, we're starting to see some decent rounds, decent plays coming out from their players. And as you mentioned, even if this still ends up just being the closeout from MOUSESPORTS, they get that final round onto the board and we go, okay, well, it was just like a fake comeback. At least it will give them some confidence individually. Like Bubsky has gone from, I think, like 5-14 to 22-18, which is a massive turnaround. Like, that is a ridiculous turnaround, in fact. But it still just takes one round, and that's the real worry. Like, we've even seen some 1Ds coming in every once in a while. We've still got players performing on the MOUSESPORTS side. We're going to just utilize a little bit of utility to try and gain some control over pop, and it's looking like just a full execution of nades. Only the weaponry isn't there to back it up.
Oh, okay. Chris just pretty much gone straight out. There's going to be Roy up and towards CT Heaven here. He's going to have some work coming his way. He's going to need some assistance as well. Frozen along range with the Deagle looking for something. The bomb has gone down as he's spinning around in circles. And MOUSESPORTS not a bad round so far, to be honest. 4-on-4. They saw the pistols are actually going to push through the help of smoke. And Chris J again pushes through, gets himself another kill. That's onto Hunden and Roy and Shush. Now just Shush alone. And that's going to do it. Off pistols, MOUSESPORTS will finally close out the map at 16-8.
As said, at any point could come one of those rounds where MOUSESPORTS just close out the game and you're kind of sat there staring, saying, I don't really know how that happened. Good performance from them in the end. Great CT half, pretty much unbeatable. And I believe we throw this right to a break, don't we?
Yeah, and when we come back, it'll be Dust 2, and we'll see if MOUSESPORTS can take the series 2-0, if we'll be heading to a third map. We'll see you soon.
On Intel Extreme Master Certified PCs, you'll find a gold badge. It means you'll find brilliance inside, that you'll get high-grade components like Intel Core i7 and i9 processors that'll deliver the uncompromised performance you need to game like a pro. Not to mention, every purchase supports the prize pool of Intel Extreme Masters. Intel, unleash your brilliance.
Everybody loves an underdog.
Who needs to be liked?
Mountain Dew Amp Game Fuel. Victory in a can.
For them, to simply exist is not enough. They must strive for more. They risk everything to build a legacy, just to have it torn down. Many have tried to reach the unobtainable, but only a few achieve greatness. They have many names. We call them stars. Euronics, a human touch in a digital world.
My name is Jordan Gilbert, aka Nothing.
Hi, my name is Sue Lee. My handle is Smix. I think it's important for these initiatives to happen. Empathy really, really goes a long way, and it always means so much to us, and I think that's where initiatives like this really help.
I encourage everyone in the community, anytime they see bullying, anytime they see someone getting called names, I encourage you to step up and say something.
Good luck, have fun.
Good luck, have fun.
Chasing all my dreams out lately. No matter if I try too hard, nothing's ever enough, baby. No, I don't care too much. I don't care too much. As long as I can keep you by my side. I don't care too much. We got time, no rush. In your eyes, I always see there is something meant for me. Different.
Passports, baby. Leave the rest in our troubled minds. Let us go down in laughter, baby. Trying to figure out what we're after.
We never headed back until we're older. We couldn't care no more, not any longer. Under peach yellow skies, we keep on searching, but we will never know what we're after.
troubles, baby. Leave it all for the faded hearts. I don't mind if they call us crazy, 'cause they don't understand what we're after. We're never heading back until we're older. We couldn't care no more, not any longer. Under peach yellow skies, we keep on searching, but we will never know what we're after. We're no kids no more. I need to feel alive in this dreadful town. I'm running out of time, and as long as you're mine, I wanna run away. We're never heading back until we're older. We couldn't care no more, not any longer. Under peach yellow skies, we keep on searching, but we will never know what we're after. Oh, I see the signs and I see we're there, and I feel the lies and I feel the sand. Forever hold, no matter if we're cast away, a fire in the dark. I know that you won't be where you will again. Right from the start, I see the end. A world torn apart, but I know we're meant. Forever hold, no matter if we're cast away, a fire in the dark. I know that you won't be where you will again. Sitting on a bench, waiting for the time to pass, dreaming of what happens next. I I see what I wanna be, questioning my destiny, only knowing what I see. I don't even realize I've already made a path, and I can change it anytime. I can't take it back.
Intel Extreme Masters is brought to you in part by Intel, Acer Predator, Mountain Dew Amp Game Fuel, Vodafone, and Euronics.
Welcome back, everyone, to our first game of our last day here on the B stream for the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice 2020 Masters Championship. And honestly, a first game was a hell of a game, to be fair. It was very one-sided in the beginning, seeing MOUSESPORTS with a dominating lead at 12-13 at the end of the first half. But we did see some life within the Mad Lions.
Some lime, yeah.
Yeah, delicious.
They were a little bit sour after that one.
And a little bit green with envy for that scoreline.
Okay. Well, you did
glasses
say
make me a little bit smarter and weird.
You said one hell of a game. I would say a game of hell because they got absolutely destroyed when it came to that first
Depends
half.
who you're a fan of.
13-2. Well, I quite like both of these teams. That's why it's a little bit disappointing. The Mad Lions, they never really got into that match. I do think if you go up against the Titan on one of their best maps, you are going to suffer. Now they go into a map where they've at least shown some promise. Like they managed to beat EG, they beat Virtus Pro, who EG at least have been a team or forced to be reckoned with on Dust 2. The only issue is we've seen now a great performance out of MOUSESPORTS. Sure, there was a few rounds coming back in the end, but we could see that they managed to close out with pistols. It was never really in doubt that they were going to finish off that match. Yesterday, we said, okay, we had some doubts about how they played versus G2, although G2 are playing very well. They still won Dust 2, and it was G2's map pick. So, and the thing is as well, when they started off the map, it did go very badly wrong. It was a slow start from them. Hunden has been talking about going into this tournament, he spotted weaknesses in teams. He definitely didn't spot a weakness on Train. If they've now beaten G2, unless he's come up with some flawless strategy to take them down, I think this should be a fairly simplistic 2-0. And it's even added to the fire the fact that they've literally played this map twice over the last month. 16-11, 16-4 in the favor of MOUSESPORTS.
And then look at the performance for Mad Lions in the last map alone. Bubsky's only finishing positive at 22-19. You look on the other side, you got Frozen at +12, you got Kerry at +5, Rops at +2, and then Woxic and Chris J at dead even. Now look at this, MOUSESPORTS again, no respect play coming straight through onto the B side. Shush able to hit the first shot of Chris J, gets flashed up just a little bit though, has some support in the man in window, which is going to be Hunden. Another flashbang lands as well, and eventually they have to be able to deal with this man. Finally they come through, but not before he gets himself another kill. And it does put things on a 3-3 situation with a flank coming in from behind.
Even still, a 3v3 is a difficult retake on the B site. In the pistol round, it's a lot more doable just based off having those USPs and the chance to swarm onto the site. There's not going to be much utility as well, normally, for the Ts to actually try and hold on to this Carrigan. He's got the USP at the back of the site. He had a very good first map, but Roy is going to dome him straight out. Nice work from Frozen to at least clear the player peeking from another angle. Now they have at least a little bit of defense, but Bubsky already finds one. It's left onto Frozen. He needs the headshot here, and he isn't going to get it. Is Roy to close out the round. Mad Lions, they have the pistol. They have the start they needed.
Honestly, I feel like that round was basically won by Shush, though. Even though Roy did get the final kill to save it, Shush just staying alive that long, able to do that amount of damage and literally delay for these rotations to come through. It really helped secure that round for them. So like you said, 1-0 start for Mad Lions. They're still going to be up against a very scary buy for MOUSESPORTS. I mean, you got the Scout, you got 2 SGs, you got a Galil as well. They can win this round relatively cleanly. They could be off to that nice 3-0 start. And I see you build up a lot of momentum throughout this map because they're definitely going to need it. Already down one map. One more map that you lose, and you're out of the entire tournament. And obviously, as we said before, both teams with a little bit of different hopes when it comes to this tournament life. MOUSESPORTS looking to take the title. Mad Lions looking to get into playoffs. And right now, Woxic, I think he's going to take this game into his own hands, at least with that first shot.
Yeah, and then mid-battle is actually going to be really tough. Frozen walks in. Bubsky, he needs to do something heroic here, and Frozen is more than prepared for it. You'd almost question who was the one who won the first round with how this weaponry has just dominated the Mad Lions. Hunden needs to try and basically just escape. He was hoping to maybe catch a kill on the way out, get himself an extra little bit of money. I think the plan there was to maybe trade out the smoke in order to get the kit, but it didn't matter in the end. He's going to be killed off.
And again, Woxic just opening things up. We talk about the power of the scout. You know, always think about Chris J back in the day with the scout, but Wox is able to pick it up here and do some serious work. I mean, we know how well he can play the scout on a map like Dust 2. And he's just proven it time and time again. I mean, taking that first player down immediately forces Mad Lions to rotate back into mid to kind of go for a 3 to 4 man stack there, actually. And then, of course, those SG shots coming through as well, just decimating. I think that was out of Frozen.
Yeah, he has come to play today. Like, as said, he was one of the worst performers. I think he was actually the bottom fragger in the game there, or the overall series that they played yesterday. It did slightly better in terms of like rating than Carrigan, but even still, he should be up the top of the board. He should be one of the top performers. There's a reason this youngster was picked up so early by MOUSESPORTS. And he's been showing it for quite a while now. And today, he's definitely had a much better performance already. 5 kills onto the board here. I like the attempt, though. Flashbangs through Bubsky. He's going to get 2 Deeg shots. The scout isn't going to connect another, and Bubsky's gone ham in this round. Even still, there's a couple of players to deal with. They've actually managed to get the bomb, but I don't think they quite realized it. It was a little bit further along. Frozen, he's going to have to fight versus 3. Almost manages it. Bubsky very low. And now it's left onto the Estonian to try and fight this one back. I think he spotted Bubsky running towards long. At least a decent amount of information. He's got to be wary that there's a second player on this site. Hunden's going to go down. Bear in mind, Bubsky's very low on HP. Can't really afford to take this fight. And again, I don't think they realize that the bomb is currently on short. So Rup's not having it. He has to go on a retrieval mission. This might be a little bit off-putting for some of the remaining CT players with where they're actually going to be facing. But they have now started to surround in on it, leaving Rups in a tough position. The spray through is going to leave him in an even more difficult spot, but he finds the kill nonetheless. But he needs that final frag, and he burns down to 11 HP. It doesn't matter what happens from here on out. Bubsky just has to run away. Rups does not have enough time to go and get that bomb down on the site. And because of that, Bubsky not only going to get 4 kills, but he's going to win by surviving.
The stacked work. We talk about Hunden seeing some weaknesses within teams. A nice little play right there on the short stack with the flashbang open things up with. I mean, obviously, if Bubsky doesn't hit those shots, there's no chance Mad Lions is going to win that round. But still, credit where it's due. Came down very close. Overran Woxic with the scout. Ended up dropping the bomb, and now Mad Lions taking a timeout here to figure some things out. Because even though they won the round, the money, it's still not great for them.
Yeah, and I think they know that there's another force buy coming as well. So this round needs to be as impressive as the last. This also means the chances of getting an AWP onto A-Core are significantly diminished, and I think he's going to be one of the heavy hitters on this CT side if they are going to have a chance. This is where you can see the weaponry being juggled around by MOUSESPORTS. They're going to have at least 3 rifles. I think a scout probably dropped over to Woxic as well. In fact, they have the full SGs. This isn't even looking like that weak a buy in terms of the weaponry that they've actually picked up. Sure, there's some pieces of utility missing, which is something the CT side are also having to deal with.
I am just waiting for any one of Mad Lions to get on top of that platform. Bubsky are taking a lot of damage. Actually, that was over towards the B site. Rop's able to hit some shots with the SG. Still, middle's going to have a lot of presence. Roy's going to have so much pressure on him to maintain this if they do decide to push through. But they might even rotate in towards short because they still technically have Frozen to push out long. Carrigan being picked off the wall. Woxic's just waiting for his opportunity to return this one.
Instead, it's actually going to be 2 trades coming back. Chris J and Rops. That's the A site completely opened up. Retrieval of that SG as well leaves the weaponry firmly in the favor of MOUSESPORTS in this position in the round. And I imagine we're going to see an attempted retake. The only issue is, sure, you've got the incendiary onto Shush, a singular flashbang, but there's no smoke. It's going to be a fairly open plant as well. Leaving that long presence will be fairly difficult to take back. And even as this smoke looks to fade, there's going to be a man waiting on the other side. The CT side also taking quite a long time there. They've had to switch things up because that smoke is there. Bubsky already tagged low on HP. It's basically just going to come down to who's favored when this fades. And, well, neither. It's actually going to be Woxic who's favored. Another 2 kills picked up for a man who is pretty much a menace when it comes to Dust 2. I'll be honest, I think if he wasn't in this roster, it probably wouldn't be anywhere near as favored a map as it is, but having one of the best AWPers in the world definitely helps out.
So back and forth rounds now between these two teams, really trying to fight for that solid control here. We saw MOUSESPORTS, what was it, 9-1 kind of scoreline in the beginning before Mad Lions able to pull a couple of rounds back. And now speaking of the Lions, they're looking more like a cat at the moment because they don't have the weaponry to back up this SG that was saved from the prior round. Then again, they saved, they forced up in round number 3, and were actually able to win the round in the end with just Bubsky surviving. And they're going to be going for something a little bit similar, trying to push him out towards short. And if he gets around the corner in time, he actually might have the opportunity for a nice kill or two. There's Woxic able to actually drop him from this one. Now the SG's out of the hands of Mad Lions. They're going to try to recover it, or at least look to recover it. Molotov blocks it off as well. Shush gets a kill through middle with the scout. Look at this. You can see Roy. They really want this weapon. Oh.
Ooh, nice work from Shush. He needs to get rid of Chris J, and he's being given opportunities to do it as well. 3 kills off the back of the scout. There are just big plays round after round at the moment. And he just, this is ridiculous. He's going for the ace at the moment. Just one more needs to be connected. And Frozen just peeking back. Surely this is going to be it for Shush. A ridiculous round off the back of the scout. An ace as they try and push through the tunnels. Individual duels taken, and MOUSESPORTS letting that round slip away from them once again.
I don't know why you're dropping the scout, Shush. Keep it after that round. I mean, when we think about 2 of the 3 rounds now that the Mad Lions have won, one came down to Bubsky getting a 4K with the Deagle, and one came down to an ace out of Shush. Not a great sign, but still amazing individual performance that they can continue that. Again, we talk about morale within the team. That has to get them extremely hyped up for this. Push coming out long, though. MOUSESPORTS looking to silence the Mad Lions. And let's do it with Frozen alone there, as you can see. And Bubsky has actually pushed out towards middle, gets a kill in towards lower. And he's already behind them at long. I think there's a potential to expect this, though, since they did lose a player there, but no one's currently even looking in this direction.
Switch up of weaponry, but that could be enough. The peak timing's not too bad. What a shot from Woxic. Using that scout once again, but this smoke has not covered Rops completely. I wonder if he might even want to go back and try and retrieve that SG instead. A slightly better weapon rather than the Galil that he's currently holding. They're trying to just find space, but now the smoke is completely gone. You can see Acor's just going to be waiting on the cross. Peek in, and Rops finds the kill nonetheless, and Shush not quite quick enough. Once more, we're going to see a 1v2 situation, and they know roughly where he is already. Bomb is going to be planted. The nade could be enough, though. It could kill off Woxic, and that's exactly what it would do. It's going to be Rops into a 1v1 now, already tagged relatively low on HP. And Shush just trying to peek the angle, trying to find him over the top of the smoke, knowing that peeking through this would have high risk behind it. The other risk, though, is that he currently doesn't have a kit. And whether or not there is one on the ground, we can see it just behind him. He's going to be going for the fight, and he's going to find the kill, pick up the SG. And I think he should have time anyway.
I mean, Shush is just continuing from yesterday, right? He was top fragging in their last match. He started to do it yet again here, currently on 9. Well, he's got 2 this round. He had 5 last round, and he had 2 in the pistol round.
Yeah, he had 31 kills, 16 deaths on Dust 2 yesterday, facing off against Virtus Pro. Of course, we put MOUSESPORTS on a far higher pedestal than VPR in their current form, but even still, they have some very good individual players, so for Shush to destroy them that hard. I think the next highest on his team as well hadn't even broken 20. So he basically was the sole carry of that match. Looking to try and do the same once again. Hunden yet to get a kill on the board. Definitely not the start that he was looking for, but at the same time, his team dragging them through the victory at the moment. And it's a few players on either side, in fact, stepping up. Carrigan has fallen off a little bit from his previous map antics. We're still going to see MOUSESPORTS actually go for an investment here. A little bit more risky than what we've seen prior, of course, because it has now been 2 rounds in a row for Mad Lions. This is normally where you'd see a team take the foot off the gas, but I guess it's because only one man survived.
Also, considering both teams' economies are so fragile at the moment, one team's really looking for that streak of rounds. Do have Acor on the op. Mumsky again, maybe looking to get aggressive here as he was in the prior round before. And Shush again, back up B side. Can they deal with him this time? They get the dink onto him down to 12 health. And finally, they actually do stop his rain. And they get full control of the B side. If you're Mad Lions here, do you just almost save at this point? You know they're a little bit under-equipped. And with Frozen, maybe if he gets that kill in towards the middle, the call would be made. But they do have a man flanking from behind. It's Bubsky. Hunting looking for Frozen. He'll spot him out.
That's such an impactful kill. That means that their rotation now can come back into the site. They also have a man advantage. Roy has actually managed to get very far in, but he gets wrecked. And Chris J has another flank in through the door. A double kill from him. And this game is just going back and forward all the way. Again, Mad Lions, all their lost bonus is going to be completely reset. And they're going to be forcing once more. I wonder who's actually going to come out on top as the victor, because that was actually a very big risk from MOUSESPORTS. Like, that was where they'd already lost 2 rounds in a row. Sure, the economy was still low of Mad Lions, but most of the time you go, okay, let's take the time, let's get our full buy-in. Instead, they're a little bit more patient. I'm interested that Chris hasn't bought a gun. He has 3,700. I don't know if he has realized this.
Well, he might not need to buy a gun if Woxy keeps hitting shots like this.
Yeah, no, I think you're right.
Chris is just like, okay, Woxy's going to hit some nutty shots. I don't need to buy. I'll just save.
Well, this is the first time we've actually seen an AWP in play. Considering we're going into round number 8 at the moment. That is quite a surprise. Carrigan ready for the aggression, but he is only going to be able to get one. Even still, B site firmly under the control of the T side. They've been able to take that control thanks to Woxic basically killing everybody as they tried to cross. And Roy, well, should have been a free kill, but not quite able to hit the taps. It will be 4-4. Finally, okay, we're going to see an eco, Jason.
Are we, Tom?
It's round 9. We're seeing an eco. This is it. This is the moment. Acor's got some extra money, so then in the future he can buy an AWP. This may be one of the longest amount of times it's taken to see an eco in a game, but yeah, this is it, I believe. Thank you for not making me look foolish.
Always watch him still win the round, though.
That would be impressive. The thing is, the Teaser managed to make a decent amount of money over the last few rounds that they would still be buying nonetheless. That's the issue that's been there on the other side. Chris J back-to-back with a couple of players, and, well, not this time. Hunden's going to be the only one to pick up a kill, and MOUSESPORTS, now they are firmly in the driver's seat.
Look at Chris's money. He had like 3.2 2 rounds ago. He saves an AK in the next round, and then he gets a couple kills here. He's up to 10K now. Like, their economy, it's completely black and white from what we saw before. Both teams' economy is in a rough spot, constantly forcing up into this one. MOUSESPORTS now have a big bank behind them.
Yeah, and that's the issue. It always hurts the CT side more going for those forced buy rounds because there's more you firstly need to purchase and there's less chance of you making cash off the back of a bomb plant, for example. So it definitely becomes tougher, and MOUSESPORTS able to win this out. Wow, it's only going to go from bad to worse. Bubsky has just been ruined on short. Chris J runs across and kills off Acor, and they've lost half their team within a matter of seconds. Roy doing his best as Rops ends up just taking his own life rather than giving the frag away. Even still, they're going to be left in a 3 versus 2. I don't really know if they're going to go for this as well. With Roy so low on HP and Shush as far away as humanly possible, this looks like a save.
I would imagine so. Maybe Roy can get an exit kill. I think, though, he needs to focus on saving his weapon. Oh, and Shush keeps running. Frozen's going to know he's here. Yep. They're still going for it. He actually ran around to go for it there.
Yeah, I don't really know how they expected to get there in time. Like, that was already the bomb down to about 20 seconds. When he was just getting to long. Like, the amount of time, even if there was no one in his way, it would take another, like, 8 seconds to get towards the site. Like, you really are being optimistic that you're going to make it at that point. If he held for an exit, then I can kind of understand it, but maybe a little bit over-optimistic from Mad Lions. Even still, going to have to go for a half investment here. Their loss bonus has now started to build up, so at least something for them financially, but this round at least, just going to be the scout. They try and dual peek Woxic, and they do actually tag him, but
it's Woxic.
He doesn't miss.
Yeah. Trying to push out long. Rops gets himself a quick double, and honestly, this game's taken a complete 180, Tom. Like, so close, so many close rounds turning into so many stomp rounds for MOUSESPORTS. They didn't lose a single player there. They're up 7-4 now. Timeout going to come in for the Mad Lions, though. And look at the money MOUSESPORTS has. I mean, 14K on Chris J, 11 on Frozen.
Do you want to speak of another 180? It was a 10-5 half in favor of 100 Thieves. They lost 16-12. So from then onwards, they didn't. Rough. They won just 2 rounds, 11 rounds on the T side to 2 in favor of EG. So they have taken not only the first map, but the pick of their opposition. And now we go into Nuke. So we're basically looking at who will be the opponent for the winner of this series. Either way,
EG could be spicy.
That should be, well, it's what we expect to be the result based off our rankings, based off how the teams have been performing so far in the tournament. But
well, Mad Lions potentially, if they could somehow come back and this could get the rematch against Evil Geniuses, where they went 1-2 against them as well. But then again, the one map they did win was like 16-14.
That is true. But I at this point, I'm starting to be a little bit of a non-believer. Even still, I'm glad to see ACOR back onto this AWP. It's going to be an early trade with Bubsky getting aggressive. Woxic just peeks his angle. Roy is just looking to scurry away because Woxic's just been peeking in and finding kill after kill. Frozen will be traded out in the meantime, but this man on Dust 2 is an absolute joy to watch. Chris J as well is putting up numbers, and they've got the 3 of them to try and get rid of Hunden and Shush. Now, of course, Shush has been the main threat for them so far on this B site. Hasn't had so much to do over the last few rounds, and not because there haven't been players to kill, but because he's been on the wrong side of the map the majority of the time. Looking like he will be pressured this time, but you can just see the patience from MOUSESPORTS. I imagine this is just Carrigan singing sweet nothings in their ear as they look to try and make the plays further into the round.
You know, you mentioned Shush, and 2 of the 4 rounds that Mad Lions do have, one of them was because he aced.
Yep.
And another round was the pistol round where he got 2 kills and delayed for a long time for the rotations to come through. So why wouldn't you avoid this man? He hasn't been able to make that impact because of that, but he might be able to have it here. 3 players of MOUSESPORTS going to be walking into the Lion that is waiting. There's the first kill coming through as well. Unfortunately, it's going to be 1 and done. Now it's on Hunden, and a 1-on-2 could be a big win for them if they can pull this off.
Clutch in a pretty tough position. The nade is going to at least do a little bit of initial damage, and there isn't actually anybody watching the window, although Chris, as I say that, will switch his gaze, and, well, as easy as you like, that's going to be MOUSESPORTS getting their 8th round onto the board. But yeah, it must just be wonderful. Like, of course, Chris able to trade a lot of the frags out, which initially came in onto teammates, but just to have someone like Woxic who's able to peek into an AWP angle and be so quick on the trigger that ACOR didn't even know what was happening.
Yeah.
Then another player who knows he's there still gets killed while pre-firing as Woxic peeks into the angle again. Like, Deadly has the chance. He's going to hit the tag onto Hunden as well. Just doing damage down mid. Over 100 ADR with an AWP, which not the most common thing you'll see in the world. And there's going to be pressure into tunnels. Unfortunately, the only man here is Rops, and this is the last person I would want to be walking into with an SG looking into a very small area.
I really want to know, what is it about Dust 2 that makes Woxic so good at it? You know, like, I'm trying to wonder, like why isn't there, why can't you be that good on every map?
I think this map is just
map layout.
It's an AWPer's paradise. There's a lot of like long range positions. There's the initial duel. Oh no, yeah. Might have wanted to get a little bit closer there, Hunden, but yeah, there's a lot of like basically long range angles. There's a lot of open space. There's players that have to cross over certain positions. You can take a lot of aggressive peeks. Also, it's a map where I don't think there's many like tight angles that you can't necessarily pre-fire. Like if you look, even if you go towards short, which is a relatively tight angle, there's a further back angle that he even took to kill off ACOR in a previous round that he can peek first to make sure that that's clear. So I think there's just a lot of favorable positions on this map that work for an AWPer. This is very aggressive. Clearly things not working out from the CT side perspective, so they try something a little bit aggressive. They've even got a double AWP peeking mid at the moment, and Bubsky is going to be able to find one, but a quick reaction from Carrigan could give them the sight. Woxic just ruined ACOR. As said, he's one of the players I said need to perform on this map if they're going to have a chance. Woxic has had his number all through the map.
Oh my gosh, to hit that shot as well when he saw the second player. I know there's at least one more here. The other's flanking around behind them. It's going to be Bubsky. In the meantime, the bomb's going to be planted at the A site. Voxic, though, he's his own raid boss. Finally, Bubsy's able to shut him down. And now it's going to come down to a 2-on-2. So, I mean, there is an opportunity here for Mad Lions to win this. I mean, the Bubsy's going to be in a great position. The problem is they don't have a kit, though. And I would almost imagine this would come down to just a save. Maybe look for exit frags, unless Bubsy can hit this first shot.
I think they have to go for it. They have to, just because of the amount they are down by at the moment. Miss again. It's going to be so quick from Frozen. And
how did he... Did someone drop from short? Is that how he got a quick double? Or did the kill come in like way earlier and I didn't notice it?
So, he killed one who was on short, and then he dropped into CT knowing that the other was coming from long.
A little bit of a brain fart there. I thought he got both like within a second. I was like, how did that work? Either way, 10-14 now going to the last round of the half. Oh my gosh. Let's just watch this.
Shush, just like, you missed. Didn't hit me.
Did
slow him down though. However, Rops isn't going to just go barreling into the site. This is ballsy. They're going to go all the way down. The auto-sniper from Carrigan, though, is just going to shut them down. That is as dirty as it gets in Counter-Strike. They're going to hate him for that. I think any Danish rivalry is going to be maximized from what Carrigan just did. And it leaves Shush alone with a scout. He's going to be killed down mid by Rops as well. That is one of the most disgusting rounds you're ever going to see in Counter-Strike. And as said, they're going to really have a distaste in their mouths for that.
Like, the most unfortunate part for that, for me, was that MOUSESPORTS were still just spamming away at the door while they were trying to push long. So, like, because they were waiting for them to continue to cross and to continue to spam through, they still had the weapon out when they came out long doors. It's like, all right, Kerrigan, yeah, 4 kills. Easy. GG easy. We're going to head to a short break. When we come back, we'll be seeing how the second half is going to break down.
Got too much up on my plate, now I can't think. I said woke up, take a extra, now I'm feeling this is it. Want the money, want the rest. I do purse, not no cess. They say, Don, it's why you sad. I said, I just need a thing. Red tape, got too close, I hit the city. Black face, show you everything you need to your phone. Can't hit it back. Someone said it, you sad. I used to want it bad. I know it's in my head, keep seeing you too many times. Yeah. I know it's in my head, keep seeing you. I know it's in my head. Follow me around, okay? Black face, hey. Follow me around, okay? Got too much up on my. Follow me around, okay? Black face, hey. Follow me around, okay? Got too much up on my. Follow me around, okay? Black face, hey. Follow me around, okay? Got too much up on my. Follow me around, okay? Black face, hey. Follow me around, okay? Got too much up on my. Follow me around, okay?
Welcome back, everyone, to our second half here of MOUSESPORTS up against Mad Lions. 11-4. You look at that, and you're like, wow, that was a very one-sided half, Jason. It actually wasn't as one-sided as it really shows, at least within the early parts of the half.
Until the 9 rounds in a row.
Yeah.
And then it was
Let's ignore the 9 rounds.
If we ignore that, then it wasn't that dominating. If you take that into account, then maybe it is. But yeah, good start. Roy is going to take down Frozen. Carrigan peeks in and he hits both headshots. Oh dear. It's going from bad to worse. But Bubsky is going to be able to pick off one more, still leaves them in a man disadvantage, and Rops has managed to get so close alongside Woxic. He's actually going to be jumping up. Flashbang leaves them by, and they're both behind the smoke. Woxic's already found one, and Roy just trying to continue from where he picked off. 2 kills to its name. He needs to double it if he's going to stand a chance, and just using this smoke to try and hide. He manages the first, but doesn't expect Carrigan to be this close. Another triple for Carrigan in this series, and I don't even know how he survived the first 2.
I've never heard you giggle like that before when he got that second shot. But to be fair,
it was gross.
I would have done the same thing, 100%.
I think your voice would have gone even higher.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. If you guys are at home, I probably would have destroyed your headphones or your speakers or something like that.
Yeah. Your dog would be running around the room.
For the 5 people that haven't muted the stream. Well, either way, 12-4 now. MOUSESPORTS, well, they got the scout for Woxic again. We already saw in the first half what that can do. Acor, I mean, he's had a couple of good shots when he had the AWP on Train, but he hasn't really had the impact, unfortunately.
I was about to say maybe even 3 good shots. It's not been his game. He has just been countered by Woxic every single time. Like those battles have just gone his way. Like he's been fantastic so far. Even going to be tagging up Shush now. And this is the same investment that we saw come out in the previous half from MOUSESPORTS. We'll see if Mad Lions can make it work. They've got themselves a couple of SGs. Relatively safe buy, but still a couple of SMGs for MOUSESPORTS, and they are going to have to take some risks in this round. But for now, they're just fairly spread across the map, a little bit heavier towards this A site, but Carrigan going to start his rotation back, trying to maybe reset up Woxic into a new position as he has been found out in mid. And in the meantime, it does actually look like they might be about to pressure him and Frozen. That deadly duo sat towards long doors, as there's 50 seconds left on the clock for Mad Lions to now make their move.
Well, for MOUSESPORTS, they need to be very careful not to turn around here. Need to hold this position, depend on Carrigan to help defend the backside, and it's going to come down to Woxic turning to help. Frozen is actually trying to play the edge of the smoke here, and the player's actually going to rotate around, so he's going to hear this. He's actually going to go for the chase. Woxic, in the meantime, trying to defend on towards the site with Carrigan there, but Carrigan gets his head cleanly taken off, as well as Bubsky getting the kill onto Chris J. Acor taking down Frozen, and this little bit of a switch up has worked out for them, but Woxic, he still has a scout. You have to respect this. 14 seconds left, they need to get this bomb down, and I don't think he's going to stop this one from being planted. Oh, that's so close.
Yeah, the issue is they're all so low now. He doesn't even need to be using this scout anymore, but he's still doing it. Already getting his 3rd kill, and now he's found an AUG to just double this up at the end. Woxic has made this nearly impossible for Acor. Can he hold on in this scenario? Look at Rops' position. I don't think he's going to be expecting him here, and just an insane amount of damage done by this man. He is absolutely running riot in this server at the moment. Bear in mind, that 2nd kill that he gets, he actually headshots one of the players through the chest of the other player. So he gets a clan, does so much damage in that one bullet that they were basically screwed. He's on 122 ADR as an AWP/scouter. That's nuts.
And you look at Rops as well, having a very good game at 20 kills. I mean, Carrigan only at 9, but he hasn't really needed again to really get much, to be fair. Once again, there you go. Punches Acor as he try to go in through middle. And the rest of the players are actually over towards B halls. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know what Mad Lions can do here. They've kind of forced up into this. They have the 2 Galils in the MAC 10. They still have a Deagle as well for Shush, but well, Shush has been quiet because MOUSESPORTS did a really good job of just preventing him from having the same kind of impact within the first 3 rounds that he did have. Remember, he had a scout ace. He had the 2K in the pistol round when he probably should have only had 1 max.
Yeah, it's definitely been a slowdown from him. Bubsky as well was able to get up to a little bit of mistage in the latter latter rounds, but either way, here we go. Push onto the site. Woxic's going to be here once again with the AWP. Smoke expended to try and slow them down. They have gone a little bit further than maybe expected. He's avoided about 15 flashes at this point. And that does mean that they're going to be able to get the bomb down on the site. Even still, a man advantage. Pretty much every avenue covered, except short. That may be the only real haven, and Bubsky looking to come around from behind, but it's being watched. Another shot hit from Woxic, leaving just two standing. Make it one as Roy has to try and clutch. He's even going to get tagged through the box. There's nothing he can do here. Another round on the board, another fantastic round coming off from Woxic. I just don't even know what they can do at this point. Like, this man is just destroying them.
Is basically how can Mad Lions do to MOUSESPORTS what MOUSESPORTS did to Shush. Try to avoid Woxic, but as you saw in that round, he peeks middle, gets a kill. Goes long, gets more kills. This man is just playing everywhere around the map, and the confidence is just oozing out of him. And why wouldn't it? You're 14-4, you're one more map, I guess 2 technical rounds away from getting through further on to the tournament, and to have your chance to play in the Spodek Arena once you match up against the winners of 100 Thieves and Evil Geniuses. And Chris J getting a little bit stuck there, will eventually make his way in towards pit. Oh, the nade. A little bit of a miss throw coming through. Could have so much damage, and that one actually might do it as well. And there you go, just mowing them down. Eventually able to get out, though, and get the first kill. Carry well, they expect him to be here, and they will finish him off. Frozen, in the meantime, has been able to get 2. But that first nade, if that didn't miss, I feel like Mad Lions would have all been on like sub 20 HP.
Yeah, well, a couple of them died just from a few random bullets being sprayed through by Frozen, so those nades were absolute filth. They have managed to finally gain long control, which has actually been something they've struggled to do over the last few rounds. We noted in the round where they had to actually rotate all the way back and just play through short because of the late smoke that was being utilized by MOUSESPORTS. I don't know if they're going to expect Rops to be here, but he has found all of the information. They've been able to sneak past him. Is he going to check for Acor? He will, but he shoots a bullet. Even still, manages to get back around the corner. He's also making space in the meantime, but Frozen won't capitalize off of it. Roy in a decent position here. His teammate needs to help defend him. I'm actually curious to where Acor's actually gone. He's left him out to dry, and now holding the angle is going to be the AWP. Rops could just go for the defusal, but they want the kill first. And Woxic is there to at least put one onto the board for himself. MOUSESPORTS, they're up to 15. They have themselves 11 map points, 11 series points. And they are looking to absolutely dominate the Mad Lions in this stage.
26 kills for Woxic.
It's actually, I almost feel bad for Rops in the sense of that he has been overshadowed because he's having a very good game. He's impactful in a lot of the rounds, but just the manner of which Woxic is able to get these kills is just ridiculous.
And also the consistency. I feel like he hasn't died in, well, I mean, he only has 6 deaths, and we've had 19 rounds played. That gives you the idea. I mean, finally he'll miss a shot. But he doesn't really miss too many. He's actually going to push through this first smoke as well, and Roy. Yeah, this is not looking good here for Mad Lions. Already down a man. Last round potentially of the series and of KATOWICE for them.
I think that was even their play having to change in the mid-round, because it looks like they were going to try and pressure onto B, but not having any tunnels control, you can't really go for anything of the sort. Chris, being underneath short in towards their spawn, is going to hear the footsteps. And because of that, we're actually going to see a switch up in setup, more dominant over onto the site again. A nade initially goes in with the incendiary to at least slow them down, get rid of the amount of time that is left on that smoke. Chris just waiting around the corner, but more importantly, they've left Frozen in the corner of Goose as well. So even if Chris goes down, I don't think they're going to expecting Frozen to be here. Carrigan chimes in. Frozen might not even need to do anything because they're being cleaned up one by one. It's Bubsky left to ace it just to survive, and they stack on each other's head, having a little bit of fun at the end of the map. Utterly dominant. Just 12 rounds across 2 maps for Mad Lions, and they have cleaned out the Danes over a very short period of time.
Very short indeed, and I feel like, funny enough, you and I have had probably the shortest matches actually of the B stream here.
We started at 12. It is now 1:35. So yeah, that took them about an hour and 35 minutes, including the 20-minute break that you get in between and some of the pre-show. that might have been one of the fastest series we've ever seen.
I'm exhausted. I don't know you. I'm going to go back to my bed and sleep. But no, let's talk about this match, I guess, a little bit more, because MOUSESPORTS, obviously, the loss they did have before getting knocked down here. Unfortunate for them. G2, I mean, obviously looking good through this tournament.
Yeah.
But now looking at MOUSESPORTS here, is this the MOUSESPORTS that's going to get into the Spodek? Is this the MOUSESPORTS who can potentially take home that trophy? We haven't really seen the matchup against Astralis in the tournament. We haven't, seen Fnatic either because they've been in different groups. But is this a team, do you think, that could see lifting that trophy?
Yeah. Definitely.
Oh, okay.
I think this is a team that, yeah, sure, versus G2 have been in form, didn't play their best. We didn't see the likes of Frozen having the same impact in a series. Here, he was one of the dominant forces. He didn't have to do too much in Dust 2 because Woxic and Rups were leading the show, but that is a good sign for MOUSESPORTS. Yeah. This is also a team that in the past, they have dominated, but they've even struggled a little bit. They dropped a map previously. They even had a closer match of Dust 2. I think it was 16-11. But in this case, they didn't even struggle at all. The early rounds, maybe a little bit of back and forward, but they were able to win rounds with pistols. They were having their AWP flying high, and every single player was hitting their shots, even including Karrigan, who was able to dominate in this series. So I think that's scary for likely EG or 100 Thieves, whoever it is that faced them in the next round. And I wouldn't like to be the team standing between MOUSESPORTS and the Spodek.
Definitely, but at least let's talk a little bit about Mad Lions, just a little bit, because obviously they've been on a trek recently. They are slowly working their way up. They're getting off some massive upsets. Getting a step closer to being one of the best teams in the world. There was some signs of life. Bubsky, again, good to see him. You talked about him as being easily a tier 1 player. You can see that happening within time.
For sure.
Shush, again, even on Dust 2, didn't really finish with the greatest kills, but the rounds he was able to make those kills, the ace with the scout, the pistol round, were definitely nice to see. But unfortunately, there was just something missing there when it came to MOUSESPORTS, because we saw how little respect that MOUSESPORTS played against them with.
I think in Dust 2, at least, it was Acor. You can't have... he is normally one of the more consistent players. He's normally someone nearer the top of the board when they actually battle, even versus some good teams. But I think in the first half, he had 3 kills, which it's not really acceptable, especially on the CT side. Sure, the 4 spies at the beginning didn't really help them out, and it's sort of wonder maybe they should have saved to make sure he can have that rifle in play. But he also just got outplayed. Woxic is one of the best AWPers in the world, and also one of, if not the best Dust 2 AWPer in the world. So you're going to have struggles no matter what happens, but he needed to be more impactful in this series. Of course, going into IEM Katowice, they were never expected to make it to the playoffs. They are one of the underdog teams, and they've still got a long, long road to go. But there's definitely promise here, and I'm excited for it. I like this team a lot. I've seen them throughout the DreamHack Opens, always getting close to the playoffs and slowly getting better and better. We saw them at V4 with their surprise victory. So there's definitely a lot of talent within this team, but it's not quite there yet.
Yeah, but it's exciting to see them, be able to actually see some results, over time and be able to improve themselves. But Tom, that does it for us for Intel Extreme Masters Katowice.
You did it every time correct, and you've screwed it up at the end.
It's always that one time, especially the worst time to have it at the very end. But, thank you again for joining me. I want to give you a chance, do you want to say anything before we do head off? Because we obviously have 2 more games to come up with Astralis, Fnatic, G2 Liquid.
Don't go anywhere.
That's going to be brought to you by Vince and Wolfie. But anything you want to say?
I'm just looking forward to watching the playoffs. I think we've got an open tournament. I think there's plenty of teams that can win, even the teams that have fallen into the lower bracket. Your Navis, your Phases, your EGs, your MOUSESPORTS.
Such a good game.
There's so many teams that could still come back through. Astralis looking good. Fnatic looking good. Liquid looking good. This could easily be the best tournament of the year, if not one of the best tournaments ever. The way that it's going so far, it looks so exciting, and if you're not planning on sticking around, just cancel all of your plans, because it's going to be great.
Call
the playoffs will be amazing.
If you need.
The playoffs will be on the weekend.
People work on the weekend, Tom. We work on the weekend sometimes. Not this week. But that's going to do it for Tom and I. We still obviously have 2 more games to come up. The next one will be Astralis against Fnatic. That's in about... I'm sorry to have to do this to you, about 50 minutes time, around 2:25 or 14:25 local time here over in Germany. We do appreciate you guys watching. Make sure you head over to the main stream, though, in the meantime, to watch 100 Thieves up against Evil Geniuses, and then come back around for Astralis Fnatic, because you're not going to want to miss that.
feel on top of the world. I feel on top of the world right now. I feel on top of the world. I feel on top of the world right now. I always wanted the world. I want to conquer the world right now. I feel on top of the world. I feel on top of
This is your chance to rise, a chance to prove yourself to the world. Because when passion leads the dream, this is not just a game anymore. This is the ESL1 Rio Major Championship.
To be brilliant is to defy convention and challenge expectations. So Intel will bring the processing power for when it's time to go brilliant. Frame rates that keep up with your reflexes. Brilliant. Fast clock speeds for when you're on the clock. Brilliant. It's what we do at Intel, powering you to master your potential. Will you rise? Intel. Unleash your brilliance.